Good morning. Our devotion today is Thanks for the Future. It isn't often that the Psalms tell you exactly why they were written. Psalm 54 does. It starts with, To the leader with stringed instruments, a maskil of David. When the Ziphites went and told Saul, David is hiding among us. We are actually given the story of why this psalm was written. Before he was king, David was being hunted by Saul, who wanted to kill him. The people with whom he was hiding betrayed him to Saul. Psalm 54 was David's prayer to God. Save me, O God, by your name, and vindicate me by your might. Hear my prayer, O God. Give ear to the words of my mouth, for the insolent have risen against me, and the ruthless seek my life. They do not set God before them, but surely God is my helper. The Lord is the upholder of my life. He will repay my enemies for their evil. In your faithfulness, put an end to them. With a freewill offering, I will sacrifice to you. I will give thanks to your name, O Lord, for it is good. For he has delivered me from every trouble, and my eye has looked on the triumph of my enemies. What strikes me about David's prayer is the way that David's faith changed it. You would expect him to be praying to God to save him and to punish those who wronged him. But David didn't stop there. Did you hear that? In verse 4, he remembers that God is faithful and will take care of it. So before God has even acted, before David has been saved, David gives thanks and promises to give offerings and sacrifices to God in thanksgiving for God's future salvation. He remembers how God has been faithful in the past. David has no doubt that God will take care of him and give thanks for what God's going to do. How do we develop faith like that? When we have problems or are struggling, do we pray to God for help? When we pray, do we stop when we've finished our request? Or do we move on to thanksgiving like David did? What does it take to be so certain that God is there and will be our helper? David remembered all of the times that God was faithful in the past. It gave him the faith and hope for the future. I find that it does help to remember God's faithfulness in the past when I am facing struggles. That helps me remember that God doesn't always answer my prayers the way that I wanted God to answer, but that doesn't mean that God wasn't with me, guiding me, and watching over me. It's in looking back over my life that I see God's hand at work. That's what gives me the strength to be thankful, even in times of trouble. It gives me the confidence to believe that God will never leave me or forsake me. And the same is true for you. Have a blessed week.